So I got out the podcast deck.
Ah, okay.
A deck.
I thought that's what you were talking about.
Yep. I have 2 sets of these. One is like podcast like show ideas, which is what this one is, and then there's one that's like a deck of like interview questions. But I lost that one, so I'm converting these show ideas into sort of pseudo questions. So newbie mistakes is the show topic of this card. So if we convert it to a question, what's a newbie mistake that you made in gaming in general? Linux gaming bonus points, but in gaming in general, I know one that like I've told a few times. I don't think I've said it here before, but I'll go ahead and tell you mine. So in World of Warcraft, when I first started playing WoW, like, 10, 13 years ago, I don't even know how long ago it was, Burning Crusade. And I was low level, and it was like those like nostalgic early days where it takes you like a year to get from level 1 to level 60 or 70 or whatever the max was. And so you're like living most of your life in this like 35 to 45 range, right? And at some point, like low level, my friend that I always played with at the time, he had just picked up enchanting, and we were all excited about it because neither one of us had done any professions. And so he's like, yeah, I can enchant your gear and all this kind of stuff. And like, I know how to do these 3 types of enchants now. And like, do you got anything you want me to disenchant? Or do you have anything I can disenchant? And I thought, I don't know what this means. I barely know what enchanting means. So I just said, oh, yeah, here, I'll give you some gear. And it was all like gray items or whatever. And he's like, no, they need to be at least green items. And so I gave him some green items that I hadn't put on yet. And I was like, okay, here's these, you do these. So he disenchants them, and he's like, oh, thanks, bud. And I'm like standing there quietly, and then, so when do I get them back? And he's like, oh, you don't know how disenchanting works, do you? So that was when I found out that disenchanting is not the same thing as enchanting, and I was never going to get those items back because they got turned into magic dust.
Oh, that reminds me of back in the day on RuneScape. We used to do this thing called the trust drop, and we'd go to this random building in somewhere. We get somebody. We go to this random building, go to the top floor, and be like, all right, we'll both drop our most valuable items in our banks at each end of the place. Yeah. And we'll have to run and go get the other person's. So the scam was that you go up there, you get set up, you drop your items, they drop their items, they'd start running, you'd pick up your items, grab their items, and run the heck out. So you got everything.
Yeah,
so many people fell for that.
I've never played RuneScape, but I've always heard about like all the scam stories of like,
oh, there's so many.
They would just like tell people like, just let me hold that item for a minute. I just want to I just want to see what it looks like on my character.
Oh
so
man,
funny.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's do another one. I'll find another one. All right. I don't know what this one could be, but the next card is discuss a trending topic. That's so vague. What's a trending topic? Someone in the chat, give us a trending topic. We'll try our best to discuss it. We're allowed to veto. TikTok dances. Okay. It's funny that Leo brings up TikTok because I did talk to you after the last episode about how I was looking up Linux on TikTok just to see what was there. Oh, yeah, that's
right. Yeah.
There are Linux TikToks. There are Linux TikToks out there. People talking about, so the F disk is how you... That it does exist. I thought that would make a funny YouTube video if we kind of reviewed some Linux TikToks.
Oh man.
All right, well, let's go ahead and start this thing. Hello, and welcome to Crowbar Kernel Panic, the podcast at the intersection of Linux and gaming. This is episode 21. The year.
Old enough to drink.
Oh yeah, we're of legal age now to drink. The year of the streaming desktop. I know we're going to be talking about some game streaming, so I thought that would be like a clever title for this episode. We are live streaming on YouTube at the Crowbar Kernel Panic YouTube channel. You can send us an email at crowbarkernelpanic@pm.me, and you can join us on Discord at the Mintcast Discord. We hang out in the Linux gaming channel, and lots of good discussion going on there this week. I've been keeping a track on. I know the big thing that everybody's talking about is the Steam Deck, because they finally announced that they're going to be launching that on time. I believe it's pretty much on time, January, February. That is.
Yeah.
I thought for sure whenever they said they were like doing a February launch, I was like, sure, yeah, well, yeah. I'll believe it when I see it, you know.
Exactly.
But supposedly they are. I'm still of the opinion that I'll believe it when I see it, because I was one of the people that like waited for the exact launch moment so that I could try to get one right in the first wave. And they still have not requested any money from me other than the $5 holding spot. I would like to see the percentage of people that like put in the $5, but then didn't actually stick it out, that like didn't never like pay it. But I've been watching my email every day, waiting for them to ask for that. And they haven't yet, but I'll let you know as soon as they do. And when it comes in, we'll definitely do a review.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited and worried.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be cool. The only thing we have an article in this week's news. So Valve is squeezing more battery life out of the Linux drivers. So they are working on ways that they can kind of, they're trying to squeeze as much battery life as they can, as the article suggests. But they're doing this by basically trying to limit the rendering of like the outskirts of the screen, like the parts of the screen that your eyes aren't necessarily going to be focused on.
Wow. And okay.
Especially like with a handheld device, like you're probably going to be in the majority focused on the center of the screen, and they're like running this at such a low resolution. That's how they're kind of cheating the graphics drivers to begin with to work on this device. But I'm, as everything we've discussed with the modifications that they're doing to their version of the OS, I wonder how this is going to reflect for desktop gaming. If you could apply this to like, if it was possible to also apply this to like lower end graphics cards, like people that build PCs with, like eBay graphics cards or something. I wonder if there would be other benefits besides just the handheld device, but obviously their focus is that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still skeptical on how big of a performance increase or whatever you want to call it we're going to get on the desktop versus on the Steam Deck, because it seems like they're so focused on the Steam Deck specifically that I don't believe we're going to get a huge benefit for a lot of this stuff. Like I don't know. I mean I kind of contradict myself when with Proton in general, because Proton has been great, and as we know now, it's pretty much been building up because of the Steam Deck. That's what they've been building all of this stuff for.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't just investing it out of the goodness of their heart.
No.
So Leo points out 720p on the outside and 1080p on the inside. They're specifically doing this through variable rate shading, or VRS.
Oh, okay.
So they're basically adjusting the VRS on the outer parts of the image versus the inner parts of the image. But yeah, in addition to that, I am waiting patiently for them to take I even forgot how much it was, $300 or $400 out of my bank account.
Did you get the small one?
I got the smallest one. Yeah, because I wanted one to talk about it on the show, and I do want to play with it, but I don't actually know how much I'll use it. I think it'll just be a cool gadget. I think I'll actually use it just like as like a little mini portable computer, just as much as I would. Yeah. I used to love the PSP as a web browser. Like whenever I got my first PSP, the fat ones that first came out, I used it to browse. I didn't at the time. I didn't have a smartphone, and so like I would use that like a smartphone. I kind of feel like I'm going to be using this in a similar way, which is probably ridiculous in in the 2020s to do that, but I think it's nostalgic for me in some ways. But this article also talks about how people that install Windows won't benefit from this unique graphics rendering, which, like, no duh. But it made me think, what kind of insane person is going to buy one of these to install Windows on it? I feel like that is going to be terrible.
I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people doing that, to be honest. I know it does sound crazy, but I just don't. I feel like they're going to get this. They're going to try to play those top 10 games. None of them are going to work or whatever, maybe on the first shot, and they're just going to install Windows and be done with it.
Yeah, I mean,
because a lot of games aren't even on Steam.
I could see that. I could see that if you're not a Linux gamer and you buy one of these because of the hardware of it. But if you've been following, if you were one of the first people to jump on the pre-order, I feel like you're going to also be keeping up with the news as it comes out. And I feel like it's pretty obvious that like all this stuff is like tailored for their Steam OS. And if you install even if you install another version of Linux on it, I wouldn't trust. Like I'm sticking with whatever's on there, and I don't even think I'm going to change it until a while down the road, whenever I know there's some tutorial out there by somebody that says how I can get exactly the same setup on Arch versus Steam OS. Well, Steam OS actually is, they're basing it on Arch, but I don't know.
But if you wanted to go pure Arch, you're saying
they've invested so much into streamlining this thing as much as they can. Like I'm not.
Oh yeah,
I way smarter than I am. You know what I mean?
yeah. I would not put another Linux distro on this thing, unless just for testing, because you're gonna get a worse experience.
Yeah, and
because
Windows
they have it specific for this.
Yeah,
and Windows, the only benefit you're gonna get out of Windows is those games that you cannot play on Linux at all, because they're not.
But they're going to run straight doo-doo though. Like
they might. I don't know. I don't know. I'm really curious to see some of the performance testing on this thing once it comes out. I'm waiting for.
We'll definitely do it here, but the big news today: Humble Bundle has changed they're consolidating a few services, and in that consolidation they're removing Mac and Linux.
Like what the heck, man?
I know. I feel like this is really out of place for Humble Bundle too, because I actually checked my Humble Bundle account the other day because it was Lutris. Lutris had like a feature where you could log into Humble Bundle, and I had just never tried it before.
Yep.
Let me pull this off the screen. I don't know what's in here. I might be revealing something. I have stuff going back forever ago. I'd never logged into this to see what I had, but I have Amnesia: The Dark Descent, which I think was one of the first Humble Bundles that ever released. And I remember I did it because they were doing Linux games. Yeah. And I've just always thought of them as being like this, big Linux open source, or, Linux in any case, advocate. And I think this is kind of an odd move for them to be, backing out on Mac and Linux support on a number of games, they say. And they're moving. So this is a service called Humble Trove, which is being this is a little confusing. It's being replaced by another service called Humble Choice, and Humble Choice is going to have a desktop client, and the desktop client is only going to be available on Windows.
Right.
And that's kind of a separate news item to the fact that even on Humble Trove, they're saying that starting February 1st, so by the time this podcast is officially released in audio form, this will have happened. But yeah, I think it's a really odd.
I was shocked by this when I heard this. Like, I think the first person I heard it by was Gardner Bryant on YouTube. He's a Linux YouTuber, and I was like, what? When I saw this thumbnail, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how many humble bundles I've done just because it's Linux, you know?
Recently, they've gotten into like the RPG, tabletop game realm, and they've been selling a lot of PDFs for some games. And I've noticed that they're kind of they're like repeating a few now. So like I think last year I picked up the Modifius Star Trek Adventure set, and then they just did that one again recently, and it was basically the identical set. I mean, I think maybe there's one book that had come out since the last one, but yeah, I don't know. So I mean, I don't know. Right now, I have a love-hate relationship with Humble Bundle, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably the really big news from the week is Microsoft potentially buying Activision Blizzard. Woo, boy. This one could be big.
Yeah, this one, I'm not surprised that they like announced this at all, but at the same time, I was kind of surprised. A lot of people are coining them the Disney of game developers.
Hell, I'm surprised Disney hasn't tried to buy them.
Yeah, right.
Trying to look in here to see how much it was. It's like a record-breaking amount.
Wasn't it like 70 billion or something like that?
Yeah, 69 billion.
69. Yeah. No, it was 68. It was 68 because he's like they could not have it say 69, not with the whole thing with Activision and all that crap. They said somebody said they had a board meeting and they were like, do not bid 69.
Yeah, so I actually, if this happens, all right, so
Leo has a comment on
let me see what Leo said. If it goes through, what do you think they're gonna do about the pretty decent WoW and Diablo support?
To be honest, I think it's gonna get better because all of my Microsoft games work on Linux. I haven't had one that hasn't worked on Linux.
So are you meaning, so Leo, clarify, are you meaning like how well it runs in Linux? Okay, that I don't think it'll change. I don't think like Windows is like buying it to try to, honestly, they're buying it to try to get the mobile gaming stuff. I mean, it's we think that they're focused on, you know, Call of Duty and World of Warcraft and Diablo, but no, it's Candy Crush. Like Candy Crush makes way more money than any of those games.
Yeah,
we just don't care about them, but there's plenty of people that do, and that's why they're buying them. And the WoW stuff probably also doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
So Leo says that his suspicion is that, hey Leo, do you want to join us on Discord? Don't feel pressured to, but you can if you want to. That they are possibly going to have a WoW subscription for the Xbox. That's a tricky one.
That sounds decent. That sounds like a decent idea for them to do, you know?
I actually think that it would be good for, I think that it would be good for Blizzard. I think that it would help. Okay,
they're all about Game Pass.
Yeah. No, I think it would help out WoW. I think that WoW could use that injection, but I think it would be short-lived. I really don't think it would be like a big longevity play. It would get a bunch of people that would jump on just because because now maybe it's available to a new group of people that it wasn't before.
Right.
But WoW is just also like, it's just too much to try to jump into. Like if you jump into WoW right now, there's just like so many different like level trees that you have to go through. I mean, it's just, even as a longtime player, like I'm not about that. I saw they announced some new expansion, or maybe it was just leaked that this is what it was possibly going to be. Something about dragons and Imagine Dragons. And it's not really Imagine Dragons. But I was just like, there's no way I'm doing that again. Every time a new expansion comes out, I think I'm going to try it, and then I buy it. I log in, and I play the starting zone, and then I think, why the hell am I doing this? And I quit playing, and I'm not doing it again. This last one was the last one. As a matter of fact, I might have even missed the most recent one. I don't even know what the most recent WoW expansion is. But I've been a Blizzard fan for a long time, or at least I was, and given everything that happened recently, not just all the terrible workplace environment stuff, but even just the game itself, I'd lost interest in, and that was kind of the final straw kind of deal. Even though the new Diablo looks really good, I am just not interested in that company enough to even, like, I just don't even want to support them at this point. Like, I don't even care. I'm not wishing ill on them, but I just feel like I'm not giving them my money anymore. And I kind of would like to see new management. I mean, if Microsoft bought them and it seemed like there was like some sort of culture shift in a positive way, I think that would be a good thing. And I think not just, I'm thinking about this outside of the realm of like a Linux gamer, just as a Blizzard fan in general, or a once Blizzard fan in general. I think a lot of people felt like it had gotten stale, and they would like to see, the passing of the torch in some way. Now, as a Linux gamer, I see where Leo's coming from, in that WoW has always been a game that you can run on Linux. Like, it's always been very, very playable. In recent years, I would say it is pretty much the same as Windows. I'm sure it's a little better on Windows in a lot of cases, only because especially if you're on an NVIDIA card. But I think it's gotten really damn close. And if they port the game to work on Xbox, then it probably will affect that. I mean, there's other games. I mean, ESO runs great, and ESO is also available on Xbox. Final Fantasy runs great, and I think it's available. I know it's available on PlayStation. I think it may also be available on Xbox. I could be wrong about that. So I mean, it's not impossible. It still could be done. But
like I said, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna change for the worst. I think it's just gonna either be the same or get better, because, like I said, all my Microsoft games work on Linux very well. Like, they're some of my best games that work the best. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it or what, but
yeah. So I think I'm torn on this particular topic, but mostly positive is what I would say. I'm I don't have much invested there, but I am optimistic, I guess I'd say. It's easy for me to be optimistic because I'm watching from a distance. I don't know how many more versions of that same sentence I can come up with, but let's move on. All right, I don't know about this. Microsoft's new metaverse.
So the only reason I put this in here is because with the new acquisition of Activision, some people are saying that the only reason why they're doing this is to get more involved in the whole metaverse, like what Facebook's trying to do and all this stuff. Like, they're trying to make like WoW be like this metaverse for them or something. It's like, it's so crazy with all this crap. I don't even know what the heck they're even thinking, if this is what they're gonna do. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, to a VR meeting in WoW?
Yeah. Now, whenever you do your work from home Zoom calls, you can have like your WoW avatar as.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what it makes it seem like.
As your VTuber. You ever seen VTubers where they those things are actually kind of cool. There's a D&D Dungeon Master that I watch on YouTube that's a VTuber. So this whole metaverse thing. So that's a trendy topic right there that we can talk about.
Yeah.
So the whole metaverse thing, like, it's one of those situations where it's like, either I'm not getting something and I'm just too stupid, or like, this is really stupid.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. Either it really is as stupid as I think it is, or I'm just dumb and I don't get it. But to me, this whole metaverse thing is just like Second Life, right? Like, it's just like they're saying, you know how you used to hate going to a grocery store in person? And so now you just order things on Amazon and get it delivered to your house. Well, now you can do that, but while simulating the part that you didn't like, you know?
But if you get mad, you can just destroy the aisles and nothing, happens to you.
Yeah,
Come on.
It just goes back.
Who doesn't want to go down the aisle and knock down all the cereal off the rack because you hate it?
How long before you're like walking through the Publix metaverse aisles and there's like goatsies plastered on them? It's like Counter-Strike circa 2005.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, I think it reminds me of whenever tablets like first started coming out, which sounds bad because obviously tablets like are a thing. Like that wasn't like a huge flop. Like people adopted tablets. They serve a huge purpose. I love mine.
It took a lot longer than they thought it was going to, but
and it didn't happen the way they thought it would. And that's the way VR is. It's like obviously VR is like great technology. There's some stuff that the company I work for is I actually should not even finish that sentence, but there is stuff out there that looks really promising to VR and to AR. Like this stuff, it really is going to serve a purpose in the future. But there's people right now that are trying to predict what it's going to be so that they can like early invest in it. And that way they're a more major player as it comes out and comes to fruition. And what it reminds me of is I remember when I used to work retail and tablets first came out, our store manager was like, we're getting rid of the computer section. We're not even going to, the computers that you see out there now are going to shrink and shrink and shrink, and we're never going to sell computers anymore. And we're just going to have a tablet section. That whole section back there is just going to be tablets. And I just remember they kept talking about this, and I was just, every night I would go home to my big honking computer that I'd invested all this money and time into building and that I basically spent 90% of my life at, and thought, I'm never going to replace this with a tablet. And there's got to be, like, sure, there's people out there that would replace it with a tablet, but there's got to be plenty of people out there like me that are never going to do that. And so more and more, we kept selling less and less computers, more and more tablets. The tablet section got bigger and bigger until finally got to the point where it's like everybody's ordering computers online for like 2 years because no one's interested in just buying a tablet as their home computer. And so sure enough, we had to start expanding the computer section again and shrinking the tablet section down again. It never, and the thing is it's not like tablets was a fad. Everybody has a tablet. Tablets are great. They serve a different purpose than your computer. And but this whole metaverse thing like reminds me of that, where it's like there's people out there trying to make predictions, and the truth is they're so out of touch with like normal society that they have no idea what people are going to want 10 years down the road. They're just trying their best to get ahead of it. So
the one good use so far I've heard about the whole metaverse and VR and all this stuff is for podcasting. Actually, they said that the latency, there's almost no latency, because instead of using like a H.264 video encode and going across the internet, you're literally all logged into the server and you're there in digitally in real time, so you can actually see the motions and you can see the people's hand motions and all this stuff, and and it's just better that way. I feel than how we're doing it right now.
So I could see I don't know. I could see what you're saying. So you're saying because we're all in the same we're all in this same
we're all logged onto the same server. Everything's coming out of the same place. All of the latency is coming from that one place. So between the people, there's no latency.
It would be
very, very little.
It would be kind of like if everybody that wanted to tune into us live like joined our Discord server and like listened to us talking on Discord.
Yeah, exactly. There would be no lag time. Right.
Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be another way to do that than than having to go shopping at a digital version of Walmart.
Yeah, no, that's a horrible idea. I hate shopping, and no matter how you do it, I don't care if it's digitally, unless I'm going through and there's a zombie apocalypse and I'm looking through the aisles for zombies. I don't want to be at a grocery store.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I think right now it's just it's like blockchain was 2 years ago. Like, blockchain, obviously really cool technology, but there was like a short period of time where it was just like every startup is like blockchain technology, it's like,
yep.
it may be unnecessary in this application, yeah, and that's the whole thing. It depends on the application. If it's unnecessary, why mention it? Why try it? Oh man, yeah, I don't know. But that's what they're saying. That's why they bought Activision, because they're trying to do this whole metaverse thing. But I don't know. Now you told me what you said about this whole thing being possibly a sham altogether. I don't know. No one can predict the future. Oh, you're talking about the speculation that
that they only bought them to boost up their name a little
Activision,
bit. We're trying to buy them.
This is not necessarily mine and certainly not Josh's opinion, but I heard on another podcast. They were speculating that Microsoft's supposed proposal to purchase Activision is really a ploy to raise speculation on their stock because of the recent, dip that they had because of all of their social media troubles and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It could be anything at this point.
If it turns out that they never buy them and we never hear nothing else about it, then maybe that's what it was. But if they buy them, obviously that speculation is wrong. If they buy them, I kind of feel like they're going to buy them. I kind of feel like it's gonna.
I feel like it's a good fit, to be honest.
I'll put it this way:
it's a good time.
If you're planning to buy Activision Blizzard, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
TechSpot.com. Sony could respond to Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard by purchasing EA. Wow.
Yeah, there's so many people talking about Sony. Who is Sony going to purchase? Who should Sony purchase? Should they purchase Square Enix? Should they purchase EA? Who are they going to do? But like, why? Why do they have to purchase anyone? That's what I want to know.
Listen, Sony, if Microsoft jumped off a bridge...
Exactly. That's my reasoning.
Let's see. The gaming landscape has been shaken to its core, and we're not even a full month into 2022. More deals could be in the pipeline. See, I got far enough ahead to read pipeline, and I said, what does this have to do with pipeline or pipewire? More deals could be in the pipeline, but regulators' response to Microsoft's buyout Activision Blizzard will likely play a big role in determining when or if they happen. So basically, I haven't read this article. You posted it in here, but I'm guessing that it's speculating that other companies seeing Microsoft potentially purchasing Activision Blizzard is going to just lead to other similar companies making
especially Sony, because they're like direct competitors. So I don't know, it's going to be kind of crazy. I'm just worried that all these big companies, just like the Netflix and Disney and all that, are going to start buying up all these companies, and then we're just going to have this like duopoly.
Didn't Microsoft buy Bethesda? They bought Bethesda.
Yeah, they bought Bethesda. Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, that seems to have worked out.
They better not freaking screw up Skyrim. I'm telling you.
So far, I feel like Elder Scrolls has been,
or Elder Scrolls, sorry,
has been on the slow and steady. Well, they're working on another Skyrim too, aren't they? Or no, it's another Elder Scrolls.
No.
You're right.
It's Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah. No, I just call it Skyrim anymore because it's been around for so long. Yeah,
me too. Even Elder Scrolls Online just feels like you're playing online Skyrim.
Yeah.
I mean that hasn't been terrible. I'm actually the last two releases for Elder Scrolls Online I feel like have been really good, and that game,
and the one that just came out looks pretty nice.
Yeah, the one they just announced.
My wife's super excited about that one.
Yeah, me
she
too.
loves the Breton race, and she's just like all into that.
I love the cutscene they have for it. There's like a group of people sneaking in. they're probably going to kill those people in this throne room. And then they get there and some like bigger, stronger dude's already done it. And he's like, what you going to do now? Elder Scrolls Online 2020. 2022. All right. So that's all we got for the news. I don't know who wants to go first. I've got Amazon Luna to talk about. You've got a bunch of distros to talk about.
I can condense this. I'm not too worried about it being too awful long. I just wrote a lot of it out.
Which one do you want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, I think mine will be quick, honestly. I've had such a busy week a busy couple weeks, and an even busier weekend. I'm even surprised we're even doing this podcast today. I just didn't want to go much longer without doing another one, but one thing I did do in the time period was pick up everything that it took to play the Amazon Luna. That's their like cloud gaming streaming service thingy. And
thingy.
Yep, and it's different than the other ones because you have to have two components to make it work right. You can just do it from your browser on your computer, but it sucks. Don't do that. If you're going to do that, the NVIDIA streaming service is a better option.
They're awesome.
Yeah, it's cheaper, and they have a better game selection. Or to me, they have about the same number of games. I don't really know specifically which one has more, but to me, they had better games than what's on the Amazon Luna selection. Same thing with the Google Stadia. Google Stadia definitely has a better game selection, but if you use their 4K Fire Stick, so you have to have the Amazon 4K Fire Stick, which I did not have. I had to order that. And then the Amazon Luna controller, which is really what sold me on this whole thing because I wanted the Luna controller. I wanted it.
Oh, it looks so nice.
Yeah, I wanted it for my PC. Like I wanted this regardless of the gaming service. And I just figured if I'm going to order the controller, I may as well try out the service. And I've been talking about how like my son is still not quite old enough to play games yet, but I want to kind of test the waters. I'm thinking about for his birthday getting a Switch. And I think we're pretty much sold on that because this controller, as big as it is, he can still kind of use it. And I know that if he had the little Switch, you know how they break off. Mm-hmm. If he had that, he definitely would be fine. But the way it works is the controller connects to there's an app you install on your phone that connects the controller to your Wi-Fi, but it's also Bluetooth and can connect to the 4K device that you plug into your TV just like any other Fire Stick. And you just install the Luna app on the 4K stick, and then the app will see the controller, and then they'll link up. And then the latency, whenever you're playing a streaming game, you're always worried about latency. If you're using this Luna controller, it doesn't feel like there's anything. It literally feels like I'm playing an Xbox. Like it feels extremely responsive. If you're doing it with mouse and keyboard through the browser, it doesn't feel that responsive. So I mean, yeah, basically, if you're
There's definitely something in the controller that is helping out or the streaming stick that's helping out the latency there.
That's exactly right. It's those things working together is what makes it work. But so the way the service works is you pay $5.99 a month for the Luna Plus service, and that is like just the basic, like that's how you get Luna. Mm-hmm. And there's a list of games that are part of that basic service, but then they have like extra, they call them channels, but you can add channels onto it. And right now there's only 2 available. I don't know if that's planning to expand or what, but there's an Ubisoft channel, all the Ubisoft games, which I've never really been a big fan of. I mean,
yeah, I used to be a fan of them, but not anymore, not recently.
Right, yeah. None of the recent games I'm really that into, and so I didn't subscribe to that one, but it's the most expensive. It's $17.99 for the Ubisoft Plus. Yeah, which is a lot.
That's just for their games, so that's a lot.
But they also have a family, which is the one I subscribe to because, again, my excuse for buying this controller with my wife was that we were gonna see how my son did with it. So I signed up for the family, which is $2.99, so it's only $3. So in total, I'm paying $9 a month for the Luna plus the $3 family service. And
that's reasonable.
The games are not extremely like young kid friendly. Like the family games are, there's like a How to Train Your Dragon game, which is basically like a Legend of Zelda kind of game, but with modern graphics. It's like it's like a little kid RPG. Like, it's really neat. My son enjoys watching me play it, but he can't really play it on his own. There's a really cool Adventure Time game that my wife and I have gotten really into. It's basically Final Fantasy, but with Adventure Time, and it's actually really good. Yeah. It's really similar to Final Fantasy. You have like a turn-based combat system. And you have to.
Oh, you know what? I think I've seen footage of that online.
It works really good. It works really good, and it looks like you're playing a cartoon. Just the aesthetic of it is like really perfect. Yeah. But some games that I played, there was a few games on there that I had been wanting to try, but I had not yet picked up on Steam. There was even a game on there that I actually own on Steam, and I chose to play it on the Luna over playing it on my PC. I've not played it on my PC yet. That game is a Plague Tale.
Oh yeah.
So a Plague Tale. It's a story of like medieval France, Black Plague time period. You play as this character who, right at the beginning of the game, there's like a group of people that come in. They're trying to get her brother, who has been like locked away for some mysterious reason, probably having to do with this virus that's spreading across the land. And they're trying to they want to kill the brother. And so you have to sneak away with him. And the whole game is played like sort of like a Metal Gear Solid style sneaking mission game. But you have like a sling that can hold 5 rocks, and you can also pick up things and throw them. And so the whole game is based around watching patrol who's trying to catch you and the brother. And you have to solve these sort of like puzzles on how to get past these people by either making noise somewhere else, telling the little brother to go do something, and then you meet him like on the other side somehow or something like that. And it's a really good story. One night, my mom babysat my son, and so my wife and I, we had a free Friday night. It was like we could go to the movies, we could do anything. We ended up just playing that game all night long. It's actually a really good game, and I never at any moment felt like I was at a disadvantage for playing it on the Luna versus my PC. Now, it was on sale recently, and so I actually did pick it up on my PC, but I haven't installed it yet. And then another game that I had been looking at but was not quite willing to purchase yet is Control.
Oh yeah, I have looked at that one. That one looks decent, but I just don't know. I have too many games I haven't finished. I don't want to get too many games. It's
pretty neat. I mean, I like it. It's really like it reminds me of, there's a game called Delta Green. So Delta Green is a pen and paper RPG. But it's about this like sort of like Cthulhian, it's like the X-Files. You know how the X-Files is like, they investigate all the weird macabre stuff. There is like a secret government agency, and the main character seems to have some knowledge of it. And as you play through the main character's storyline, you learn more about like why she has the connection to this like secret bureau. And all along, you're finding scraps of paper and, audio recordings and all these documents that kind of tell the story of this agency and how it came to be and how it has this connection to like this otherworldly, like, entity. And it's really cool. And I did notice that some of the things from, and they also do this in Delta Green, some of the thing, and in X-Files, how some of the things are like based on real, like sort of internet conspiracy theory. Like, there was I forget what it's called, but there was like this place where everybody in this town was hearing this hum. And
oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like that plays a role in the storyline of the game and
interesting
stuff. So it's really neat. It's really neat to kind of see how they worked. Like, I don't want to say real life events because these are just real life conspiracy, we'll say. Into this game.
Probably normal events, but people make them out to be conspiracies.
Yeah. But somebody in this town just bought these new Corsair fans that I just bought. I'm going to tell you, my neighbors probably hear a humming since I bought these things too. But the gameplay is like a third person shooter. And I thought it was going to be kind of like a Resident Evil style game where you're finding like keys and clues and then puzzles,
right?
But it's not that. It's basically like.
Well, I was going to say it sounds like that, but
no, it's more like Fear. If you remember the first person shooter.
Oh yeah,
Fear,
yeah, okay.
It's kind of like that, where it's like they do all this trippy stuff over the screen while you're shooting at enemies and stuff. But it's mostly just a shooter. It's mostly just a bullet hell shooter. One of the neat things about the game is like it has this mechanic where like you have infinite ammo. Your gun basically charges up ammo. So if you're real trigger happy, you'll just run out real fast, and then you have to wait for it to build up again. But you'll never run out.
And it just takes a while to come back.
Yeah, and then you can soup up your gun with different pieces that adjust that. So if you're the type of player where you're just going to spray and play, then or spray and pray, then you need to adjust your gun to just constantly refill ammo. Or if you're more methodical, then you want when you hit something, you want it to do a lot of damage because you're only going to take one shot.
The headshot, man. Get the headshot.
But it's cool. It's cool. I have to admit I've kind of I wouldn't say I've lost interest in it, but it's not like
it wasn't what you were expecting.
I mean, I didn't really have much. It won a bunch of awards, and it has cool cover art. That's about all I had as far as expectation. Cool cover art. Yeah. It's like when I kind of play it like when I'm unwinding, but it's not like appointment like gaming. Like I'm not at work going like, what's the next chapter of Control going to be? And then real short mini reviews. I did Resident Evil Biohazard is on Luna, and when that game originally came out, it looked too terrifying to play, and I never played that one. But I want to play Village, and so I thought I should play Biohazard because I know it's before Village, even though you don't necessarily have to play both games. And I was right; it's way too terrifying. I can't play that game. I'm not going to keep going with it. Done with it. But I also played the Blair Witch game, which is pretty neat.
That sounds like it should be more terrifying.
It's not as scary as Biohazard. Biohazard's way scarier. The Blair Witch game is it's very similar to the movies, obviously, but the main character is searching for like a lost kid in the woods, and you're part of a search team, but they've already went out way ahead of you, so you're solo, but you can talk to them on the radio, and you have this dog that is like a retrieving dog. Like if it smells like a piece of clothing, then it'll go try to find it, that sort of thing. And the game mechanics all work through that dog. Like you give the dog commands, and like you tell him to like search the area, and then he'll sniff around, and when he finds something, he'll bark, and then you got to find where he is. You may get separated from the dog, and then you're trying to find your way back. But yeah, I don't know.
So how good is the dog's AI? Is it pretty good?
Pretty good, yeah. Pretty good.
That's all. Like those games, like all hinge on the AI of the thing that you're, trying to follow.
I only played the first part of it, and I didn't get very far. I can tell that there's also like a video camcorder mechanic, which of course there is in Blair Witch Project, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I didn't really get far enough into that to see how it worked. But it seemed like there was like to go back to Resident Evil. If you've ever played the beginning of Resident Evil, there's a moment where you play as the cameraman that's filming. You find like a cassette tape, and then when you put it in and watch it, the player actually plays out the cameraman and the footage. I think there may be a similar element to that in the Blair Witch game, but I haven't gotten that far to see. But yeah, so other than that, real quick mention, Project Gorgon. We reviewed Project Gorgon several episodes ago, and we talked about how there was this motion blur and everything. And then recently you mentioned it in, what was the name of that game? Horizon Zero Dawn?
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn, yep.
The most recent version of Proton Experimental has, I think, fixed both games, but definitely Proton.
Yep.
Or definitely Project Gorgon. Project Gorgon has no more blur. I started a new character in that game and started playing it again, and it's still a ridiculous game. I don't recommend it to everybody. And then a game that I want to play more of and maybe review on the next episode, but I really need some motivation to do it. So I'm gonna commit myself to it now, and everybody hold me accountable. I have to play it between now and then. A community run server. It's like a community run MMO made out of the Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition game. So
Interesting.
You can buy that game on Steam for like $5. It's really cheap. And if you go straight to the multiplayer section, you know how a multiplayer on those games basically works like someone's made a server like on their computer or something, and you can join their game and play in it. Well, there's this like huge community run game called Aerolith. They have like 4 servers. It doesn't matter which server you join. They're kind of like in like some kind of weird mesh or something.
The metaverse.
Yeah. That's the true. Neverwinter Nights is the true metaverse. But they have like a whole MMO. It's got like NPCs and storylines. They're like super, but here's why it's intimidating. They're like super strict on role playing.
Oh man.
Like
crap.
If you interact with other characters, you have to do it in
You're
RP.
a casual gamer. Do not play this.
Right, exactly. I mean, they have like rules. Like they could ask you, they'll give you like a warning or something, but they could
they'll
ask
kick
you
you
to leave. Yeah. And so I've been too scared. I've been too scared to walk around. I'm afraid someone's going to walk up to me, and I haven't like worked out my storyline yet or something. Yeah.
Hello, traveler.
All right.
Hi.
I need a Elder Scrolls like NPC like AI or something that'll just talk.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Then you just get banned for having an AI.
Oh yeah, they could probably spot it right away. But so if you download the game looks terrible because it's super old. I mean, it looks exactly as it did in the original Neverwinter Nights. But there are some new packs that you can download. They're not a DLC on Steam. That's where I looked for them first. But there is a post on the Neverwinter Nights, and I'll just make sure there's a link to it in the show notes. But there's a post on the Neverwinter Nights website where you can download the new skins so that all the models look modernized, and all of that works on this Aerolith server. So your character model, everybody else's character model, will look like the modern version, so it doesn't look terrible.
It looks better than RuneScape.
I don't know. I made it's one of those things where it looks better when it's in the world, but on the character creation screen, when I made my first character without the new models installed, I was like, whoa. That was
Did I just go back to the 90s?
Yeah, that was a waste of $5 because I'm not playing that. But with the new character models, they don't look bad. They don't look bad. Well, that's all I got for this week. So what have you been working on?
Well, like always, I've been distro hopping. That's just what I do.
Don't we all?
It's just this new laptop. I've been searching and searching for the perfect distro to use with this laptop because everything has just there's been something wrong with it, and I never tried Linux Mint on it yet until this whole thing. But just as a spoiler, Linux Mint was the clear winner. I don't know what they do under the hood other than even like Ubuntu and the others, but it just runs so smoothly, and the drivers work, and even my fans work, which no other distro worked. I do have to go into Windows and set the fans up and then switch out to Linux and then they work, or to Linux Mint. But any other distro would just go back to default settings and then they blast for like no reason, and they just keep at like, I don't know what, 4,000 RPMs all the time. So then that's like impossible. You can't even hear yourself think sometimes, let alone podcast.
That's what's going on with my fans. I've been complaining about how loud they are since I got them.
Yeah, I have no idea why Linux Mint works so well, but it just does, and I think I'm just going to keep it on here because I'm like, nothing else seems to work, and everything. I'm mostly afraid of burning this thing up, to be honest, because the other ones, the fans would stay running fast, but before they would run fast, they would be like totally silent, and that transition period between them being silent and running fast, I don't want it to burn up. Like, it was quite a while. It could have been like 30 minutes as they ramped up. It just wasn't working right. There was just something not right about it. But anyway, yeah, that aside, I did a whole ton of different testing on each distro just to see what worked and what didn't. So my and my Linux game, because I've been trying to play Linux native games more so than anything else. I've been playing Splitgate. Oh. That is a very, very fun game if you're like into Halo or anything like that. Like, this game is awesome because it like reminded me of my LAN party days back when I was like, you know, a teenager, and we would just get together and all play Halo. This is kind of like that. I mean, it obviously it's not the same thing, but the game feel is like that. Like, it's not like Call of Duty where you get in and you like just can't do anything because everyone else is so overpowered. Like, that's how I feel when I get into like a Call of Duty kind of game, or even Halo nowadays.
I'm looking it up now and adding it to my wish list to remind me to install it, because we talked about it this week, and I was planning to install it, and then I never did. So I'm doing it. Oh, it's so fun, and the whole portal aspect of it, where you can throw these portals and go through them and shoot through them and all this stuff. That is an awesome mechanic and a pain in the neck, because there's some people who are so good at throwing portals that there's just no chance. You will die. There's no way. But there's a good balance in the game where, even though there are people like that, they don't always pair you with people like that. They kind of like change it up. Like, there'll be one match where you just totally lose. Like, it'll be like 5 kills to like 100 kills. And then there'll be other matches where you win the same way, but the opposite way. So they kind of like go back and forth with who you're playing against. So I feel like I would struggle with the portal aspect of it, which is what's kept me from trying it.
That is a very, very confusing thing for me. But as I've been playing more, and also binding the portal buttons and different buttons to my mouse, that has helped a lot, because I don't have to look at my stupid keyboard to figure out, I got to press Q and E and Z and X and C for the different portal to close them and open them. Instead, I just have it on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I can just click them on my mouse, because my mouse has 12 keys on it, and that's really nice, because then I can just click with my thumb and I can do that. My favorite thing to do, though, with the portals, and it's the dumbest thing because you always die, but it's just so fun, is to throw a portal way up high and put one right where you're at and just snipe through it. It's so fun. Because you'll see a person just running at you and you'll be like, yeah, you're dead.
Oh, man.
Oh, it's so much fun.
So that's the night. So no one can complain about campers, because if someone's camping, you should be able to just put a portal there.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you can't see someone and they go through your portal, they can just kill you, or they can shoot you through your portal. Like, yeah. So the thing is, when you throw a portal yourself, you can see through it, but everyone else can't, even your teammates. No one can see through it, but they can still shoot through it. So if they see you shooting, they can still shoot at the portal and still hit you. So it's not totally unfair where they can see you, but they can still shoot you if they are smart enough to realize, that guy is right there standing next to his portal. But the nice thing is that if someone finds you, like if you're standing there and someone finds you, you can just run through your portal and close them and then get away. So most of the time you don't. Most of the time someone just kills you if you're standing there. It's really stupid to stand by your portal like that, but like I said, I just find it so fun to just snipe people.
Man.
And there's a whole bunch of different game modes. Like there's this one, I forget what the name of it is, but there's a ball you have to hold, and you get points as you're holding the ball for your team. And you can't shoot or anything, but you can melee attack with the ball, and it's pretty much an instant kill. So that's like really fun. You basically just grab the ball and you just hightail it. You just run and hope not to get hit by someone else.
Yeah. There was a thing like that in Halo, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there was. I'm sure all this stuff is just repeats that I haven't played for a long time. So this is all new to me now. And there's normal stuff like capture the flag, and not capture the flag, but like hold your ground, hold a specific position for, you know, if you got all your team in the circle, you get points and all that stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it's just fun. And there's no grenades in the game. The only grenade you get is to close portals. You can throw it at your enemy's portals and close them.
Oh shit.
But there's no actual grenades like to blow up people and stuff. So I mean, that's kind of annoying because I always throw the portal grenades at people and it just does nothing. And I'm like, oh crap. But yeah, so yeah, that's the Linux native game I've been playing, and I've learned not to play it at night before bed because my freaking heart rate when I'm playing that game is like way too high. I'm like super on edge when I'm playing that game. It's been a long time since I've been like that with a game.
Man.
So anyway, so yeah, the games I tested were Horizon Zero Dawn, Witcher 3, Metro Exodus, Halo Anniversary Edition, Splitgate, Valheim, and Project Zomboid. That's actually a really fun Linux game too. It's basically you're like a survivor of a zombie apocalypse and all stuff. It's basically impossible to win the game. You always die. There's no hope. Huh. But yeah, that's a fun game to play. It's really low res and everything. It's third person, you know, like hovering over the guy. You're looking down from the camera.
Yeah, it's been recommended to me. I was wondering what it was.
It's pretty fun. But I haven't been playing that game a lot. I just tested with that game. I've been mostly playing Splitgate. But so okay, I'll start with Horizon Zero Dawn. So like we mentioned, there was a fix for the grass, and there was a sound crackling that was happening. After maybe like 3 or 4 minutes of playing the game, there'd be this crackling that would start in your sound, and that has been both fixed by Proton Experimental and Glorious Egg Roll. That's patched in the latest 7. I think it's 7.0 RC6, maybe it's 7 by now. I don't know. He's been doing a lot of beta releases lately, but that's also patched there. But Glorious Egg Roll 6. Whatever that still has the crackling in it. For at least for me, it did. So yeah, I went back and I tested the game with everything I was doing with after the fix, and yeah, it's definitely fixed because all the games were pretty good. And pretty much every distro I played this game on worked except for Garuda, which just didn't work at all to even use as a distro, and ZorinOS for some reason had really bad stuttering and lag. I don't know why, but it just did for that game. Let's see here, and then I played Witcher 3. That game, it still has a lot of stuttering under most distros except for Linux Mint. Like I said, I don't know what it is about it. I don't know if it's using my drivers better for the laptop or what. But every other one I played, it wasn't unplayable, but just like once in a while you get that stutter where the game would just freeze for a second, and it just, for me, that breaks my immersion. I don't really want to play like that.
Were you doing like basic installs and then installing appropriate drivers and install the game, or were you doing any kind of modifications, or like in your testing, how are you approaching that?
No, the testing, I basically just installed the distro, installed the drivers, and went from there. I didn't really do any kind of other, I just wanted to see what the out of the box experience was with the only tweaking at all I can say I did was I used Glorious Egg Roll once in a while just to see what the difference was, and most of the time it didn't really help in this aspect of my testing with the stuttering. Mostly it's stuttering. Most of the stuff is just stutter from I guess the translation layer between Proton and DXVK or whatever. But anyway, yeah, because all the stuttering just happens pretty much in the Proton games that I play.
Okay, yeah, that's another thing I was about to ask. Okay,
for the most part, I mean, there is some stuttering in the Linux games, but it's not nearly as much as the Proton games. Like in Splitgate, there is some stuttering in Linux, even on the Linux version. There is some. It's very subtle, but it's in that kind of game. If you want to play competitive, that's something that you can't have because if it stutters at the wrong time, you're done. So, anyway, so then yeah, Witcher 3 worked good on Linux Mint. Like I said, don't know why, but it did. Metro Exodus, the Linux native version is just not it. There's just too many things wrong with it. When I first started it, it played only like half the screen was there. It was like the bottom was my desktop, the top half was the game, and no matter what I did, I tried moving it to different desktops. It just wouldn't. Nothing would fix it. I looked on Proton DB, nothing that they suggested. Actually, I didn't even see the problem on there. So I have no idea why that's like that. And the distros that did work, that actually did come on the screen, whenever I would hit the WASD keys, it would stutter. But if I stopped and I just moved my mouse around, it'd be smooth. I have no idea why that was, but that is just how it was in every distro. But Proton worked fine. There was some stuttering, like I said. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I should have mentioned this in the first part. I did let the shaders compile before each one of these. I made sure I did that because they said it does help with the stuttering if you have it. And it does help, but in most of the cases, except for Linux Mint, it didn't help that much. It didn't help enough for me to notice, at least. Yeah, I don't know why these games are stuttering so bad and not on Linux Mint. I mean, I've been playing these games straight on Linux Mint for the past probably like 3 days, and I haven't had a problem. Or, well, maybe like a week now. I've been off and on gaming, but yeah, and I haven't had a problem with it. I haven't noticed any game-breaking things. And on all the other distros, which I played for over a day with on all these games, I just didn't want to play them on them.
Man,
so
you're making me want to go back to Linux Mint.
I'm telling you, I don't know why, but this has been my experience over the years of going back to Linux Mint and just being like, this is great. Even on my desktop, that I've had the same consensus. But also the thing is, this is NVIDIA graphics, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't know.
Yeah, but it might. I mean, I'm also on NVIDIA graphics, but I do have a similar experience. I don't usually have stuttering, except for just then when I was trying to say stuttering.
Yeah, I do it all the
time. It's probably happening. I noticed it happening on OBS when we started. I don't know if it's still doing it every once in a while, but I have this weird screen tear right at the top of my. Yeah,
I get a weird screen tear too on my only on my rightmost monitor. My screen, my monitor on my laptop and my vertical monitor both don't have any stuttering or any screen tearing at all, but my main monitor, right, not quite in the middle, but a little bit up from the middle, like maybe like 60% up the screen, there's a tear, and it only happens once in a while that I can notice it.
Yeah, and in my case, it happens on anything. It doesn't happen on Proton. It's only on Linux native stuff.
Oh,
it happens on Albion Online, happens on OBS, but it doesn't happen in everything.
Right.
Yeah,
I know. It's just weird. It's just a weird thing. Yeah.
But you're right in that it doesn't happen in Linux Mint. And I'm sure there's something I could install or do on my current Arch setup now, but I don't know what it is.
Right. That's the thing. Right. That's what I'm saying. Whatever they do must fix these things. Like they must be looking for these problems. Yeah. And so, and Halo Anniversary Edition. Awesome game. I recommend. It's a Microsoft game. It works great. That played smoothly. There were some stutters on the Arch distros for some reason. Not like maybe like one stutter every 20 minutes. Like it wasn't anything crazy, but it was noticeable once in a while. But it was totally playable on any of the Ubuntu distros that I used. No stuttering at all. There's still, like you said, probably something they have installed somewhere that's making it just smooth out. Probably something to do with the processor, I would imagine, there, because of the stuttering issue. Most of the stuttering is the processor, something to do between the processor and the GPU as it's trying to hand off the data.
Yeah, my next graphics card will be Radeon, I'm pretty sure.
I'm like debating. Let's say the graphics card shortage stops right now.
Yeah.
And Intel releases their graphics card. I would be like, do I try the Intel or do I go Radeon?
I would wait and see.
I know, but I'm like, oh, that sounds so good. Like what I've heard of the Intel graphics card, it's amazing.
Yeah, I would wait and see. It might be enough to entice me to wait, though. You know.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely enough for me to wait for it. Yeah. So Splitgate, comparing it to Windows, it definitely did get more FPS on Windows, about 100 frames per second, which is significant. But you're talking 200 versus like 300. So it's not like you're not going to be able to play this game, but some people they might notice that. I don't know. I did not notice anything.
So it seems like it's a pretty, I don't want to say easy to run, but it seems like it's fairly optimized.
Oh yeah. No, it works. It works fairly well on Linux. I mean, I'd really switching between Linux and Windows. I didn't notice anything really different between that game. That's the only one I really tested between the two, only because I was testing that as my Linux native game, I was playing, so I wanted to kind of see the difference.
Yeah.
I don't know why the frames per second were less on Linux, probably some sort of driver, thing, probably, I would imagine. But that game was pretty good. I could play that on either and have no problem. Valheim was the same way. That I could play on anything. There's no problem with that at all, except for obviously Garuda, because I couldn't even get that one working. I don't know why I have such a problem with it, but I do. Man,
I've said it before, and I feel like it goes back to the metaverse thing. We're either dumb and we just don't get it, or what, but people love Garuda, and I've just never had good luck with it. I mean,
me neither.
I don't know what I'm doing. We have very similar hardware, so maybe we're just in this weird niche where it doesn't work for us, but like every time we've tried it has not worked well for me.
This is the thing. My new laptop is Intel NVIDIA, and my desktop is AMD.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
NVIDIA.
Your laptop breaks away from the mold. Yeah, your laptop's Intel now.
The only thing that's the same is NVIDIA. So I'm thinking maybe it has something to do with that, because you have NVIDIA, I have NVIDIA. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why it's not working. Even though they have a native NVIDIA install, it just boots up right with NVIDIA's drivers already installed. It still has problems, major problems that I can't even use the distro at all.
Yeah.
So, and Project Zomboid, that played well on everything, probably because it's such a low power, hungry game. It doesn't take much to play that one. You can probably play that on a toaster. That kind of thing. Yeah, that is a fun game though. If you do have get it on sale or whatever, pick that one up. That one's pretty fun, just to mess around with. So yeah, the Arch distros that I tried all these on were Manjaro, Endeavor, and Garuda. Obviously, Garuda didn't work, so I might as well just throw that one out. But I did try them on Manjaro and Endeavor. Endeavor being like the build it yourself kind of thing after the install, and Manjaro being more like Linux Mint, where it's like everything already. So Manjaro was mostly good. I didn't really have too many issues with that one. The only problem I had, and this is probably a KDE thing, I was trying KDE on all these Plasma, where my monitors just wouldn't work right. Like it was so stupid. Like half of my monitor was, I can't even describe it. Half of my vertical monitor was half of my horizontal monitor on the side, and there was no way to fix it. I don't know how to describe it, but like I could see my mouse on my right screen and my left screen at the same time. That's basically what was going on, but it was only half the screen. Half the screen was like that. If I went,
probably, you know how you can in the NVIDIA settings you can choose the option to
yeah, I know what you're saying, where you can move your screens around and change the different settings.
Yeah, but there's one option that says that you can make it like one big X screen or something like that instead of having.
Oh yeah, I know.
Ones.
Right, yeah. This is the thing, though. This is my problem. I don't have any of those options in NVIDIA in my NVIDIA setting. Even on Linux Mint, I only have like 3 panes of options. I don't have the whole where I can configure my screens and everything. I don't know why. On my desktop, I do. I have all that where I can configure them, but not on my laptop. I don't know why, but yeah, I thought the same thing. I was thinking that same kind of fix for it, but I still have. I looked on the forums. I couldn't figure out why it was doing it, but it was. And like I said, that could be just a Plasma issue. This next one was definitely a Plasma issue on Endeavor. OBS and any kind of screenshots would not work at all. Like it was either a blank screen or like only one window would show up, and that was on the screenshots and OBS. That's basically what was going on. It just.
I recently had this problem.
Okay.
I actually didn't figure it out. I just used a snap image instead of the regular OBS.
I tried all of them. I tried Snap,
OBS.
I tried Flatpak, I tried the repo version. All of them had the same problem. I don't know why.
and in my case, it would capture Brave as just a blank screen, but if I open Firefox, it would capture Firefox.
Yeah, that's kind of what was going on.
Yeah, I don't know what's causing that.
Yeah, I don't know either. So the Ubuntu distros I tried was Ubuntu Gnome, the regular version, Kubuntu, FairOS, and ZorinOS. And so Ubuntu, it was basically like Linux Mint, except for like I had some weird issues with my Optimus drivers not working for switching between the Intel drivers and our Intel graphics and NVIDIA graphics. So like some of my games wouldn't play right because they would be trying to work off the Intel graphics drivers instead of my NVIDIA drivers. And I tried installing the Optimus stuff and none of it would seem to work right. When I tried to switch it, my screens would just go off. And when I switched back, my screens wouldn't look right. I'd have to readjust them for the resolution and everything. So I just kind of gave up on that one. Now, this is all probably my laptop and the setup I have right now with my 2 monitors and my laptop screen. Probably a lot of it has to do with that. But because I didn't test any of these with just my laptop. This was all with my monitors because I wanted to see how it was with my monitors to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kubuntu. Yeah, I had that same issue with the screens, kind of like not working, not looking right. Like the same thing with Manjaro. I had there. I don't know why that happens, but it does. And then when I would launch games, because I tried launch game, even though the games wouldn't pop up on the right screens, and I could not figure out how to get them to go to my rightmost monitor that I want to play the games on. So that's why I kind of gave up on that one, because I couldn't figure out what was going on with that. Like I said, I looked on the forums on all these to try to figure out, if somebody else had the same issue, and I seem to be the only one with this issue with multiple monitors. A lot of stuff has to do with multiple monitors with Linux. It just that's
yeah, and
kind of a hard point.
I think because you use the 2 different orientations, I think it struggles with that in a lot of cases.
Yeah, you did mention that before, and that could definitely be it. Although Linux Mint works.
Yeah, and another thing is too, like, I don't think you should, if that's what your best desktop layout is, then we should be able to make it work. It's I'm not making excuses here, but I think that's probably, especially
it's definitely
these, like Endeavor and even Garuda, Although I would think Manjaro is big enough to not have that problem.
That's what I thought.
But like Endeavor and Garuda, I feel like they're trying their best to target like the largest base they can, and that's probably just, you know, they're expecting fewer people to have
and they don't have
two
the
different
time
orientations. Yeah.
Right. They don't have the time into it like Mint does. Mint has a lot more time into their distro.
Oh yeah. That's true too. That's a good point too. Kubuntu is one of those distros that like a lot of people love. That's one that you know, that's another kind of staple of
and my whole thing with this was trying to get into KDE, trying to get into Plasma, and trying to see how that is, because all of this is kind of going off of the Steam Deck because they're using Plasma, and I tried to do the Arch-based distro, so that's what I was kind of trying to go from, kind of a theme. That's what I was going by, but my hardware is nowhere near what the Steam Deck's gonna have, Nvidia versus Intel and all that. So it's don't compare anything. But I was just trying to see. I'm just I'm just trying to see how well I can get along with this setup with what I have. That's all. So yeah, FairnOS, I had the same issues as Kubuntu. Again, FairnOS is KDE Plasma. Even though it is a slightly newer version than Kubuntu had, it still had the issues. So I kind of just lumped them into the same thing. ZorinOS, I had extreme stuttering in most of the games. That could be because they're based on 2004, although FairnOS is based on 2004 and Mint's based on 2004. So I don't know. They were just a no-go for me for gaming. And then Mint 20.3, everything worked. Everything. Like, I installed it. My screens worked right. My login screen is on the screen that I want it to be. I didn't have to do any tweaking. Every game. Well, if before the Vulkan shaders got compiled, it stuttered just like the other ones. And then I was like, oh crap, it's having the same problem, whatever. Yeah, I'm just going to have to ditch this one too. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I got to wait for these shaders to compile. So I did that. That's so funny.
We've been skipping, we were even joking last episode about how
I know
they don't do anything, and apparently they do.
And the other ones that I tried, it didn't do anything. So I almost didn't let it happen. I almost just kind of gave it a pass. But what happened is one game, the Vulkan shaders just compiled real fast. Some of the games it took like an hour to do, so that's why most of the times I skip it. Yeah. But the one game it worked real fast, and it was like buttery smooth after that got done. And I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta let these compile.
Well, for me, what seems to happen is it either happens fast, like it either immediately goes through, or it gets to like 100% and then just sits and never completes.
So there's a setting in Steam. If you hold on, let me look it up here. Gotta open up my Steam. There is a setting in here. If you go to the Steam, and at the top left of your Steam window, you go to settings, you go to shader pre-caching, and you allow background processing of Vulkan shaders. That will let them process in the background while you're playing. So even though you skip it, it'll still process them while you're playing, or it'll process other games as well. I just opened it up, and it's right now it just said processing Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yeah, me too. I just did mine too on the stream, and it's processing Wizards 101, which is a way more hilarious title to have pop up without it. I was playing Wizards 101 with my son the other day. He wasn't interested.
But yeah, that definitely helps a lot for your stuttering, if you do have stuttering. I said, the other distros didn't help a lot, but Linux Mint, great. So, I'm really not trying to be like a fanboy here, but like this is how it's been for a long time. Over 5 years it's been like this with Linux Mint, where I'm just like, I'm sick of Linux Mint, I'm gonna try something else.
Me too. I know, I've done it myself. Yeah.
A week later, back on Mint.
Me too. Plenty of times I've done that. So what I'm hearing is we always joke about Proton Glorious Egg Roll being the chosen one. It sounds like the chosen one truly is Linux Mint with Glorious Egg Roll is the chosen one.
Oh, someone needs to make a thumbnail of that with like Glorious Egg Roll with Linux Mint face.
If anyone can get in touch with Glorious Egg Roll, tell them we want him to come on the show.
Seriously, that'd be awesome.
We should have put that at the beginning that we wanted.
Just edit that. Throw that at the beginning.
We'll remember it. We'll remember it next week. We'll remember to talk about it.
All right. So okay. So all my spiel is done. Hopefully we didn't lose everybody.
We tried. No,
tried to be interesting.
It was good. It was very thorough. Very thorough. But the Linux Mint Glorious Egg Roll. So well, we didn't mention at the beginning. I need to make a note for next week to make sure we do, but that's that we're trying to get to 100 subscribers. We're at close to 90 now, so we're getting close. Apparently, I wasn't subscribed. I just subscribed. If we get to 100, we're going to help you install Arch, even if it's just to experience the process for the first time.
What if Arch is what I've been looking for this whole time, and like somehow it's like this god Linux distro for me?
I highly doubt it.
I know, I highly doubt it too. But what if?
I highly doubt it. But I was thinking too, if so, I'll do something too. So what I'll do is I'll use KDE for a month because I haven't used KDE in years.
Oh man.
So I'll do KDE for a month, and we'll help you install Arch and hopefully make a video out of it.
Yeah, we should do like a live stream of that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. We got to figure out how to get. Well, you could do it like from your phone, like just point your phone at the screen or something.
Oh yeah, I guess I could. I can figure something out.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already. And we will see you next episode. Peace.
See ya.